Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome everyone. My name is Armagan Al-Haq. I work with the Waterloo Institute for Sustainable Energy as the Managing Director. Uh, Let me start with the territorial acknowledgement. The University of Waterloo acknowledges that much of our work takes place on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Our main campus is situated on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted to the Six Nations that include 6 miles on each side of the Grand River. Our active work toward reconciliation takes place across our campuses through research, learning, teaching, and community building, and is centralized within the Office of Indigenous Relations. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. Shahryar Nasirov. He holds a PhD in economics and policies with a specialization in energy policy. He has over 15 years of progressive research experience in energy policy, particularly in the power sector across various countries including Spain, Chile, Azerbaijan, and Philippines. Currently, Mr. Nasirov is a visiting professor at the Waterloo Institute for Sustainable Energy at the University of Waterloo. He is also an associate professor and researcher at the Center for Energy Transition at the University of Adolfo Ibáñez in Chile. Mr. Nasirov led the creation of the Executive Master Program in Technologies and Management of Renewable Energies and served as its first director. He was awarded the Best Young Researcher Award under 35 years old in Engineering and Technology in 2018 and the Best Professor Award in Postgraduate Executive Education in 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Dr. Nasirov. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me here. Honestly, this is a fantastic moment, and it's been really a fantastic experience for me and for my family being here and having this last 7 months spending with all colleagues in Waterloo. And here in and I just, before he started, I mean, I took a bit time to think about what is going to be my message in this presentation. My presentation is going to be a bit a generic topic, but it has been in my mind for a long time. Basically, it is related between the link decarbonization and markets, right? Because this is the main motivation of my presentation here is we have two big challenges. One challenge, we have growing interest in large scale and rapid transition, energy transition. But from other side, there is uncertainties and also big the concerns in the market price and market price signals. And that's why in my presentation I'm trying to beat and whether I mean, there have been different questions also in the literature. One of the bit straight question is there market solution for energy transition? And also, and this is things, and the question is the current markets and can actually address the complex challenges of this energy transition. There have been different views on this topic. Some of obviously researchers say that okay, current markets are functioning very excellent. Some of them saying okay, we need to change and we have to make huge intervention and we have to make the changes, important changes or minor changes on the market, on the current market. And some others say that we have to sweep and we have to build something totally new. This is kind of, and I'm also want to mention that this is very interdisciplinary topic, and I have my background in economic policy. I'm sorry that sometimes I can incline on the other side. That's why I just want to say sorry that for sometimes topic is not my own topic, but I've been collaborating with my colleagues, the engineering colleagues, the social science colleagues, and that's why it is kind of the topic is not only the market perspective, it will be also for a bit broad topic, right? Basically, I just want to make sure that, okay, I want to start with the main characteristics of markets, right? What is the market? What's the main function of market? The main function of market is obviously definition of the prices, right? We say that, okay, what the market does, they define and the prices, right? That's this. But the other question is that how we can make this and how the market makes this these prices efficient, yeah? Because when we're talking efficient prices, we expect that we don't expect distortion in the prices, right? So from that point of view, that's an electricity market historically considered the most sophisticated market in the world because of this several other components that make it very special. One is the operation side. You have to provide the security. And other side, very important, is the expansion and the planning. The market has to make sure that the system will be expanded. Because why we need to care about expansion? Because the power system, the energy system is linked to the economic development. Where we have to make sure that the system expands. So that's why the markets in electricity market has basically prices has two functions. One is the short-term prices, and the other is the long-term prices. The long-term prices means they have to help the system expansion, and short-term prices has to assure and somehow ensure the interest of the players, right? So this has been a classic relationship before, right? When we had before then a huge amount of entrance of renewables and wind and solar capacity. What happens in a current option, in the current market structure, someday we are experiencing a lot of new elements. So what is the new elements? Because one is of new elements, like new form of models, especially new solar models, community solar models, P2P trading, a lot of new functions they are appearing. And at the same time, new enabling technologies. We call it storage technologies, we call it storage technology utility scale or distribution scale and a digital solution, and there are many enabling technologies. From other side, and a very important side, the social aspect. This is how we incorporate the social aspect. Nowadays, the market is becoming very challenging. How you can absorb all these challenges. Yeah. So this is what's the main function of market? Basically handling information. And what the price does, basically handle information. So when you have there's too much information, so sometimes, and we can observe that there is distortions in market. So in this presentation, what I want to say, and my objective in the presentation, not to answer questions that what we do with the market design, but at least to show the importance of this system. What we can, what's the relationship between the decarbonization and current market designs. Yeah, this is, and I will try to show this development from the current and the country that I live and the development in Chilean power sector, right? So how I structured my presentation, and briefly I will give short information about the overview of Chilean power system and evolution of Chilean energy matrix. And basically we divide in two parts, and before the first transition and the second transition, and then what are the implications with this? It's very important that what are the implications with the decarbonization and our current market design. Yeah? So I will end up some conclusion remarks. So, and I just want to come up with this presentation. This is general overview of our power system. Chilean power system has unique characteristics because the country, these characteristics also comes not from the design, also that comes from the geographic situation of the country. The country is one of the thin and longest country in the world. So we can see that system operator covers almost 3,000 kilometer the length. This is really makes really complicated for the operation of the system, for system securities. So, and we have actually a generation side of market when Chile is a totally private country. So you have all of them, all of the sectors are very private. So we have generation is a private, 100% private. We have in generation segment, we have free prices, free competition, basically the cost-based model we call, when I will show you detailed bit in the following slides. So we have basically the prices, spot prices is based on the cost, variable cost, right? The wholesale market has several components. We have energy, I think the 80% or 70% I would say that's the energy, and then other components, the capacity market and ancillary service market. And basically the spot market, a part of the spot market, we have the PPA contracts. One is the bilateral PPA contracts, and also the central PPA contracts that for residential, the consumer, which is organized by the National Energy Commission. So the transmission sector is a private also, is a monopoly, regulated tariffs, and this is non-discriminatory, they function non-discriminatory basis, open access, and this is also one of the characteristics is coming from the centralized planning. It has own advantages and disadvantages. So this is distribution side. We have a private national monopoly with regulated prices. And so there are several electrical concessions. So this sector controls a little bit distributed side generations, and also in this part the quality of services is important. So, and consumer side, we have two kind of consumers. The consumers are regulated consumers, basically the less than 500 kilowatt consumers that they use, and there are we call the regulated consumers. The electricity and more than 500 kilowatts are free consumers. But and between this and consumers can change their position also. Sometimes the consumers can decide to go to free consumers, and can be also the regulated consumers between this 500 and 500 kilowatt and 5 mega. So, and electricity in the consumer side, basically two kind of contracts are defined there. One is a tenders PPA and also the bilateral one. So in our in our spot structure of a spot market is the balance-based spot market, because demand cannot participate in this one. So what happens that only the generations can participate and make the balance of their position. So demand only they cannot directly participate in the spot market. So we have several units. Ministry of Energy basically controls the policy side, and we have a National Energy Commission. It's a more technical institution. Basically, they work on the tariffs, etc. Very technical task. And electricity, fuel, and superintendent. This unit basically assure the quality of the service. So, and national electrical coordinator, we call this system operator. Basically, different from the system operators in Spain or in Europe. All the functions, system operator and market operator, are together. So they have both functions. So and other unique characteristic of also Chilean market is a panel of experts. This is basically panel is that controls all disputes between all units. So this is kind of very one of the unique characteristics that I haven't seen at least in European market cases. So, and I'm going to try between basically, I tried in this presentation to divide in two main parts. One is the first transition between from the hydro sources to fossil fuels. In Chile, basically, and early 1990s, almost 80% of the market was based on hydro sources. What happened from then, and with the huge development of the economy and demanded also the limitation of the hydro sources, and economy has started, but demand for electricity has increased significantly. So for the first part, and hydro sources, and after several years from early 1990s, and the natural gas, basically, and Chile and Argentina had a very attractive deal on gas sources, and for almost a 10 years time, natural gas of Argentina has played a very critical role in the Chilean energy matrix. But after what happens after a few years, and for domestic reasons, and Argentina decided to cut the gas. So what happens that after the Chile and the gas crisis enters new and basically LNG sources, and also they enter new and coal, and basically coal plants. So this is the period covers from 1990 until 2015. This period has been very critical period for Chile for different reasons. First reason is that when the liberalization process started, as we know that the liberalization has two characteristics. One is the attract investment and the competition. But unfortunately, the competition wasn't the key concern, because Chile suffered in this period a lot to attract investors and private investors. For this reason, and also the significantly increasing of economy, and the development of the power sector didn't follow development of economy. What happens that several times in this period, the country experienced several crises. And we had the hydro crisis, and also the crisis and resulted in the blackouts in the whole country. Yeah, and then this period, basically, what happened in the increasing energy consumption, huge energy consumption, and also I want to know that Chilean economy, a part of the structure of the economy, we have a mining sector. The mining sector is the energy-intensive sector, which is 30% of energy consumption goes to mining sector. This is very important in that case. So, and we had, in this period, we had increasing energy dependency from external sources. Almost country, we had like 20%, 25% of electricity came from the hydro sources. Almost 75% of sources came from outside. And this high dependency on external sources created very volatile prices, and also the increasing cost of energy, right? So, and also this period, and happened several and important histories, the failure of large energy projects, because several coal-based plants, and also the large hydros, the plant was rejected because of environmental and social reasons. So this has been a very, very tough period in Chilean history in terms of energy. So what happened, the situation changed, and from 2015, situation changed one to the other side. So what happened, we observed, and in last year, 2023, the solar capacity reached almost 20%. It converted the country one of the highest solar capacity in the energy matrix. And so, as we see here, for the latest data, so that in renewable energy generation has reached 70%. This is basically thanks to solar and wind capacity. Basically, now we have energy matrix today. We have 34,000 megawatt capacity, and this 40% of this capacity comes from the renewables. And there are several drivers actually that for this growth of renewables. There are several factors. One of them, obviously, is the technological cost reduction in solar and wind sources. And also we had the favorable business climate and high energy prices also somehow drove this condition. And also one of the key aspects also to play an important role is the migration of European companies. What happened that from early 2010, the main Spain, basically Spain and the Italian government start cutting the feed-in tariff. In Germany, they started cutting feed-in tariff systems, and most of the company, they immigrated to Chile to find more the opportunities once they face this situation. So, and somehow the situation in Europe also benefited the renewable energy growth in Chile. So also, another important factor, also solar and extensive solar and wind resources. I would say that the best factor is the available land. You have a huge available physical lands that help this short time growth. And in terms of the policy action, has been several policy intervention in Chilean government. But I think the two specific policy interventions have been very critically important. One has been the restructuring of the power action system design, because and restructuring of the PPA design. I mean, we have two types of PPA, I was said before. One is a bilateral PPA, and 50% of the electricity is traded on organized the PPA, and which is organized by the Chilean government. So the structuring of the power action system, that changed all the game. Why? Because before, and when you want to attend this trading and auction system in the tendering process, you have to make sure 24 hours electricity to your client. So what happened in that case, solar and wind, the companies cannot provide 24 hours continuous electricity. What they're forced to go to a spot market and to buy the complement rest of the electricity from the spot market, which is very volatile and uncertain, right? So, and what they did is specifically they created specific blocks for solar and wind resources. This has totally changed the game. So the solar, they have specific blocks for solar and specific blocks for the wind. This has been a fantastic, I would say, game changer in this, in policy in renewing the industry. Another the aspect I would say very important is the approval of new transmission law. Actually, this part has been has advantages and also many disadvantages. Has been discussing this law. This law, what happens that before, in the transmission tolls, the payment was realized by the generator. So any generator, any solar or wind generator wanted to invest in a specific zone, they have to make sure that the connection. But now with the new transmission law, the government eliminated the requirement, and they changed the transmission law. The tolls will be paid by the consumers. In this case, the generators started discovering many places that there's no transmission line. But after the several decades, this created a huge problem also for the system, because the regulation didn't follow this expansion, right? So, and I just want to, from now, I want to discuss a bit what are the key implications with the huge growth in our current market design. What is it? Sometimes we think, okay, we have 40% of renewables and solar and wind sources and 25% hydro sources, but what are the key implications with the market design? One of the implications is that from 2000, and while the share of renewables increase in the system, we're experiencing huge curtailments in the system. So, and this year, this curtailment has been significantly high, and when it was each year, but there was some expectation. Even the this year's curtailments surpassed our expectation. So it has been 70% almost renewable capacity has been wasted almost. They couldn't connect the system because of lack of the limitation, the grid. This is almost reflects almost. This is almost represents 7% of total electricity produced in the country. Yeah, this is it. And if you compare with 2000 to 2023, this level of curtailment was about 7%, 8% now in 2004, and it's been 17%. This is going to be expected. It's going to be increased even higher. So. And there are several the barriers with this problem. One of the barriers is the structural barriers in the transmission sector, because the transmission business still remains very concentrated business compared to the solar business. So if you see the solar industry, you can find hundreds of players. But if you look at the transmission business, you can find a very few the players, and also there is, if you do this level of high level of concentration that makes very complicated to meet the transmission expansions. For government, last few months ago, our government announced that 70% of transmission projects has been declared void in the tenders because of lack of interest. Because transmission sector, they don't have interest because they know that they have advantage in market because there are few and there are huge demand. And at least with this current condition, they are not interested to expand the line, to build the line. So this is one of the important, let's say that. The barrier. And second barrier is a regulatory barrier. And the regulatory barrier we have environmental and social evaluation system, and this system receive huge projects. Today we have in total 180 large-scale initiatives are pending in this evaluation system. And 62% of these projects belongs to energy sector, especially the transmission line. So there is because of the permitting delays and uncertainties. Yeah, this is a huge problem. And another is a community challenge. This is because it's community challenging that you have to make very prolonged negotiations with the local communities. So in Chile, and especially very thin and long country, we have a joke that if we keep building renewable energy projects, every family will have a line over there. This is becoming really true, unfortunately. So this makes really trouble for a company to negotiate and with the communities that they are private, and some of them they don't really want to have the lines or their land. So this is the challenges, main challenges from the grid side. So another important challenge, I think this is the makes sense. This is the $0. And imagine that you build your projects. You build your project in the desert and with all conditions. So we have 720 days in total, and the generator received 0 prices. Yeah, this is almost a permanent situation. It's not like, happened. This is an aggregate number of days in 2024, and almost 9 months of the year, the generator received the 0 prices. Why they received the 0 prices? Even this number can be interpreted negative because of your PPA contract, right? For example, you have a PPA contract. Let's say $50. So in Chilean market design is based on nodal market design. It means that when you inject with a 0 price, you have to retire energy with $100, for example, and you have minus 100. So when you have a contract, imagine that PPA contract 60, you still have minus 40. You have to pay this minus 40. Even there's this 0 can be interpreted negative in many cases because of the location of your clients. So this is basically, this situation forced many generators and declare the bankruptcy and also to sell their properties to the big and concentrated firms. So there's a big stressing moment currently in this aspect. So, and I just wanted to make sure from the market perspective, if you go ask the economic people, associated with the background economics or market operator, they will see that there is a oversupply solar. And it's normal to get zero because no one told you that to build your capacity in this specific area. Imagine that you are in a street and you open 10 shops, you start selling bread, but demand, you don't have a demand for it, obviously you get zero. From the market perspective, it is somehow you can interpret that this is in a free market condition, no one told you that you install your capacity in a specific zone. But from the energy transition perspective, and if you're thinking that we need to have a large, rapid energy transition, but we're gonna waste huge amount of the capacity, this is open discussion. Right? It's not because of economic perspective. That's why I'm thinking that from other areas, what is making this? What does is it make sense or not? Right? So another important and a third important implication is it is about the complexity of managing system, right? This is we sometimes call it duck curve, but we changed this as we were talking about the ostrich curve because this is it's totally different now because the Chile very small market, not the Kaysher, it's not ERCOT, it's not PGM, because this market we don't have interconnection. Also, creates important stress because in Canada you have certain level high interconnection with US and other, but Chilean system there's no interconnection practical. We have only one line with Argentina, but very limited capacity. Yeah. So what do we have? Imagine that, and also I will say that the characteristics of the country, a very thin country, so you have sun rays and sunset happens exactly 1 hour. Exactly, you said, okay, 10 o'clock, everyone goes home. At 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, everyone is. So from the market perspective, it is very high competition. So this creates very high competition. And also, you need to find in a 13 hour, in a 1 hour, you need to find replacement for 5,000 solar. And who will do that? For if you ask gas plants, I mean, I think the attract investment is almost very complicated and to cover this this management issue. For this reason, so what's happening is we're observing huge integration cost issue. So where integration costs only the management, a part of other problems, transmission, and a part of we talk 0 hours, and now this is only the management issues we're having. This is the handling cost. This basically we call the systemic cost. Basically, this cost transfers to the end consumers. The mostly end consumers, you cannot, because of the political reason, they don't transfer to regulated consumer, they transfer the free consumer to our industry, but this affects almost the productivity of the industry. So this cost has been also increasing really rapidly for a market, small market is the Chile is, we are talking about last year, this cost reached $1 billion. Yeah, this is and also, and this is not a unique case for Chile, what we are seeing, because in international literature and recently the article published in Nature that they made and a global estimation in global market, basically if you reach 35% of renewable energy penetration, you can expect somehow like $14 integration cost. But if we reach to 85%, this cost can go even further, like $30. So the problem is that, imagine that you have a PPA $60 and you add $30 more just because of this cost, right? So the problem is the solution. What's the solution for this? And a current solution is that it is this integration of the storage, large storage potentials. Yeah, utility storage, especially utility storage, lithium-based storage capacities is becoming attractive. How the big discussion how we can integrate to the system. Yeah, this because of the price of our last years. We observe huge drop in the price of the the storage capacity. Nowadays, in Chile, there is a huge development, especially in the solar side. There's a huge development in the development of the BESS in the country. But the key question is that how we can integrate to our system. You know, this is someone who can say that, okay, let's say we have a solution, we have enabling technology, the cost is decreasing, but how we can integrate to the system? Because in Chilean case, we have a centralized system. And what is the centralized system? Because and the system, the management of the market operator, the market is a matter of how you handle the information. Some countries, they handle information as a centralized way, and some countries handle information decentralized way, like a European country, they do a decentralized way. But the level of decentralization can go even further. So what happens when you manage the information in a centralized way, the cost of the managing this information become really costly. So imagine that last time in a few decades, you handled 4 generators information, but now you handle 1,000. What happens when you get million? You know, this is a very important question in a centralized system. So because in Chile we have a cost-based market. We say that, okay, I'm gonna pay your Chilean operator. What they do is, as a generator, you have to submit all the characteristics of your plant and all the cost characteristics of your plant, and system operator takes all them and run a simulation based on the cost, and they give you, okay, this is your cost of the system, and you will inject this hour, because the central, I would say that system operator is like acting like a boss. You know, they say that, okay, this hour you have to inject, this hour you have to retire, everything controlled by system operator. But the thing is that when you want to attract a huge amount of the storage capacities, what is going to be cost of batteries? What's going to be cost of this batteries? For we cannot, because there is not declared cost for batteries, because there is a difference between the charging and discharging the battery. So there is aspect of opportunity cost aspect. What's my opportunity cost? The discharging this and charging this hour. But this cannot be dictated by system operator, right? This is my own. This is a huge discussion nowadays. So what is gonna be and how we can decentralize case, decentralize the market. So this is, and unfortunately, this is kind of, this tendency is going, because nowadays we have this decentralization comes with the storage technologies, but tomorrow we'll have millions of decentralized distributed energies. And what's going to be structured market? I would like to finish these concluding remarks. One is that energy, obviously, from the development of the renewable-based electricity market, there is this energy transition disrupt liberalized electricity market and demand the economic foundation. This is kind of obvious with all countries. But the thing is that the tendency shows that electricity systems are shifting from centralized and to the decentralized system with a million of generators or million of participants. So the question is, in this decentralized scenario, the future success of market will depend how well they manage growing amount of information from diverse sources without cost, in an informative and transparent way, and without delay. This is gonna be a huge concern and about the future of and electricity, at least electricity markets. This is end of my presentation. I'm so sorry that maybe I took a bit longer than expected. The question is again, what do you really think about future role of the market will be in energy transition? Yeah? Thank you so much for your patience.
Okay, so we have time. The floor is open for comments and for questions. Comments, questions.
Thank you very much for the great presentation. You mentioned that there is a 20% penetration of solar in Chilean electricity market. And then you noted there are PPAs, which is power purchase agreements for those ones as well. So my understanding is those power purchase agreements, they are going to ensure some like payments to renewable generators, right?
Yeah.
So I was under the impression that if we have those PPAs, then how solar capacities are still going to be part of the market as well, and they're going to be impacted by zero prices. Aren't they going to get their benefits through those PPAs already and aside from the market?
Yeah, it's a very, very good question because this is a very design because when you have, because in Chile basically contracted markets, you know, they expect when you enter, basically the financing point of view, if you want to get financing from bank, you have to have a PPA because you cannot find local financing structure is not friendly with the spot prices. You have to get a PPA. Otherwise, you cannot get financing to develop your plant. From one side, you have to almost, I would say, there's not 100, but 80, 90% of the all of the generators have a PPA. But the problem is that the market is a centralized market. Even though because nodal-based markets, you imagine you have a PPA with $40. Right? So as a solar or $60, let's say, as you are a solar generator in the north of country. So when you inject with because nodal prices, because when you inject your energy with a zero, but you have to retire this, total different prices. Imagine that you enter zero and retire with 100. Yeah, because basically you have to retire for the other side of the nodes. And when this, you have a minus 100, then the PPA contract somehow helps the situation. Yeah, because we have $60 PPA, but still $40 you have to pay the system because you are now in a negative situation, in a negative way. But that's why, all goes through, you have to go through the, all goes, you need to go through the pool. You know, you cannot, that's why this is centralized pool. You cannot, you don't have like in Europe, that bilateral contracts that, because all this centralized market. That's why, and this, the solar companies that faces this kind of situation, because they need to declare through the system operators. You have to inject with zero, you have to retire with a positive, still you have a negative and you have a PPA. Obviously PPA helps a lot because otherwise, until now the markets survives thanks to PPAs because otherwise they cannot be survived. This is the PPA. I would say that's one of the positive characteristics that we can. I would say what we can learn from Chilean experience. I think this is the PPA contract because all the European now markets are trying to go through the more because somehow provides a liquidity in the market, right? This is a very important tool, but it's not sufficient, unfortunately.
Okay, so we have an online question by Professor Canizares.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you, Armand. Thank you, Shah, for an interesting presentation. I had a couple of questions. The first one is related to the fact that you have a very unique market in Chile. So the fact that demand response cannot participate in the market is unique. The other issues that how you dispatch units is being focused mostly on hydro. So that requires a total redesign of the market, if is my guess. My second question is regarding interconnections. You did mention that in North America we have all these, Europe as well. Yeah. We have all these interconnections that facilitate the integration of renewables. In Chile, you don't have is part of the solution also considering interconnections, strong interconnections with the rest of Latin America? For example, Ecuador had no electricity for a few months. They could have been using some of your surplus. So has that been also considered? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Claudio. Mira, I just want to start from the first one because basically when the market design history happened in Chile, the design has been mostly the children also reading the story of Chile because of hydro system. Because hydro system somehow with the aggregated great value in that case. But nowadays, because nowadays the system operator, they're trying to move from the cost-based system to more decentralized system, but the key question is that what to do with the hydro, the bidding system, right? Because of the bidding system also, imagine that there are a lot of renewable, because a cost-based system makes somehow the participation of the generator very straightforward. Because why is it straightforward? Because you invest in a certain, you take a risk in investing certain destination, you somehow pass all the indicator, your cost details to the system operator, but you finish. You don't take risk on bidding, because in a market, in real market cases, somehow you build your apple trees, but you have to know that's okay, what the price you put for your trees, that's why this price basically is set by the system operators, or there's no biddings, or that's why the thing is now the big discussion is that if we move to bidding system and a decentralized system, what is gonna be how we can train these small generators in forecasting and taking this risk, because in this case the security of the system becomes very compromised, and that can be compromised in this sense, because centralized and decentralized system basically one of the differences is the security of system, because somehow system.
Excuse me, one clarification, because I don't understand what you say with centralized. Decentralized in North America means small generators, very small generators, distribution system operator. I think what you mean with decentralized is smaller generators at your hydro stations. I'm not quite sure what you mean with that. Can you clarify, please?
Yeah, a centralized system is in the management of information, Claudio, because Chile is a cost-based the system, because why we call it centralized, because system operator controls everything. Because there is.
Okay, so I got that. So you're talking about a bidding system.
Exactly. That's why we call the centralized.
So we just have to qualify that, because decentralized means something else in North America.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. About the second, the interconnection, because it have been several the efforts actually, because there's a huge potential not only there with Peru, Argentina, and Brazil, but unfortunately there is a huge regulatory differences between these countries. I mean, therefore, and also the political reasons. Yeah, there's a lot of political reasons that the countries are not interested in this trade. There have been several efforts. I think the solution in Latin America goes from this. This is one of the key important things that to push this central regional creation of regional markets, like European markets. I think this could be also in Latin America. Unfortunately, there is a big regulatory and political gaps to create this interconnection. But one of the key reasons is that everyone wants to sell it. Yeah, this is the case, because in most of the time we have a small connection with Argentina because everyone thinks that I need to have a positive surplus. No one wants to buy it, they just want to sell it. Because I think there is a new interesting rules for a game to make attractive this trade. This is a part of the regulatory and policy aspects. This is very complex and very important topics, but unfortunately it didn't advance until today. There is one of the drawbacks of the region in terms of electricity design.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you.
If we have any in-person question, then we can go with that. Otherwise, we have another online question. So I guess it's time to take the online question.
We have an online question from Daniel. Here is a message from Daniel. Thank you for the presentation. Do you think the geothermal is a solution for at least some of those adoption problems from Brazil?
Or the geothermal, I mean, I would say the Chile is one of the also very attractive source of geothermal sources here. And this is, we have actually one plant is operating, so if I'm not making mistake, 130 mega, the plant is geothermal plants operating in Chile. Unfortunately, since we have totally free markets, and no huge regulatory interventions. And this is all interest comes first, and the investors go to solar and wind sources because it's very cheap. And that's why still, and I would say that geothermal could be very attractive option, but needs somehow kind of support and our regulatory support is somehow to be make it competitive at least with like solar and wind sources. And we have one, but unfortunately, we expected that it can expand, but it couldn't expand until now. This is not because and also the Chilean government has been very passive in that case, because in Chile, I personally also observed there is a huge liberal approach. Let the market work principles. You know, let's say let the market decide. But unfortunately, when the market decides in particular zones that we have now with the very cheapest attractive sources. Yeah, this is I think nowadays in Chile they're thinking maybe we need to increase the role of regulation, and because the market becomes a bit with several distortions that I talked. I think the future role of the regulation is a bit improved. Yeah.
Thank you. So another question?
Thank you. Shah, thank you very much. That was wonderful. I'm picking up on your last point and picking up on what you have on the screen in front of you. I was going to ask, and I will still ask, how would the public answer your question up there, and how would, in the political discourse, to the extent is there consensus or not? And I'll pick up on your last question, on your last comment. I think I heard you say, and you can elaborate, sir, there's a good feeling for liberal perspectives or something like that. And I guess I'm just getting at, is the debate in Chile more about what the role of the market should be, or is it more pulled back? Should there be a market for the energy transition, or should it be a collective good and fully regulated because of whatever reason? So just any perspectives on the public debate on that, and whether there's consensus or debate amongst the political parties. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Sure. Thank you, Jan. I think this, for your question, I mean, in Chile, especially the large non-regulated consumers, because they are getting so much affected from this, the market distortion and the prices keep adding. And one of the things they ask, because the people are not from electric size, but they said, okay, what happens? We observed the solar capacities keep decreasing. This is very wonderful news that we have seen. And also solar, the prices keep decreasing. And then we see that, okay, there's also storage capacity keep decreasing. So why have to pay each year more and more electricity? So this is kind of big discussion. And what we should do, and why the system, they integrate something that's very cheap, but they integrate you very expensive way. And this is one of the key debate in Chile for what is going to be. Other markets is functioning well. That's why. And somehow election of this topic also with this kind of related with the Chilean debates, or they say that, okay, what is wrong with the market? So maybe we are trying to make centralized, we have make it like whole system from 3,100 kilometer system, unique system. Maybe it's time to dissolve the system, like small microgrids create. This is also the discussion. So because the system becomes inefficient. And I also will see that how the future will show that integration of this utility and the storage-based capacity, etc. This is, I think, one of the key aspects. Another is also that there is a huge expectation from distributed size solar capacity. How they're going to change all the paradigm in Chile, because these days and electricity prices for level of Latin American world, which is one of the highest, is very expensive in that case. So these prices, the people are very angry with that, because they read that, oh, Chile is a wonderful country with the renewables because we have a highest potential, the price is going down, very attractive, but at the end I have to pay the higher prices. But also the consumers are very upset because they know that someone made a mistake. This is system. This is very, because when you have, Claudio also they clarified that the centralized system, when you have the system operator that control everything, when someone make mistakes, and this mistake transfers to directly consumers, that's the consumer that say, well, I have to pay the mistake of someone, or why I have to pay because the regulation didn't come at time, right? This is it's kind of popular in energy policy discussions in the country, from regulated and also non-regulated side. All right.
Thank you. Do we have more in-person or online questions? Nothing. So I guess we still have 2 minutes left, and I can take the plunge, and I can quickly ask Dr. Nasirov one quick question. So Dr. Nasirov, you talked about solar, you talked about wind, you talked about energy transition. Is there any room when it comes to nuclear energy or nuclear power plant under the Chilean nuclear energy policy framework?
Well, this is a wonderful, I think, before the solar and wind, we had these discussions that nuclear, but unfortunately, when you want to have a nuclear power plant, you need to have huge institutional experience and background to handle all because in Chile, we don't have that experience. In the region, only Argentina, I guess, that has a nuclear capacity, because nuclear is not a way like solar and wind, because you need to have some background, institutional and policy back to handle this. And unfortunately, in Chile, we don't have. I think if we can have a nuclear, I think we need to wait at least several years to establish this vision, right, and a policy vision in Chile to handle this and nuclear investment. Another side, also from security side, Chile is very seismic zone. Very seismic zone. We in daily basis we have like earthquakes. This is there has been very trouble because in 10 years, we had 2 big earthquakes. Like one is 8 degree and another 8.5 degree. This is very seismic zone. This is also in terms of community concern is very dangerous. I think you cannot get credit from the community perspective to build a nuclear power system. But nowadays there is a lot of development. There's small nuclear facilities and small scale, but this is for some countries getting very interesting. This option. Yeah.
Thank you. No more? Okay, perfect. So, Dr. Nasirov, on behalf of the Waterloo Institute for Sustainable Energy, University of Waterloo, and the entire audience, I would like to thank you for your great presentation and sharing some wonderful insights with us. Thank you so very much. And I assure the audience that he will be with us for the next 10-15 minutes. If you would like to have a one-on-one conversation, please give him a big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much.